being on. I had a good day today. A little bit later start, so we were got a good work day. Thought the guys had a pretty good approach. Very physical practice, a lot of competitive drills. Back and forth. I think both sides showed some good things. Continuing to work on just overall mindset and response, especially when adversity shows up. Try to create some adversity today, challenging guys. We're still not there yet. We got some work we have to continue to do, but I think our guys are understanding the why, and that's one of the things that we're working on each and every day. They've got to continue to believe in themselves. That when things become challenging, when things become difficult, and your response is what's going to determine the outcome. And it's not just what we're doing in this game. It's going to be that will serve them well for the rest of their lives in every situation. And so I think they are definitely growing. Today kind of marks the end of our camp. We're going to really have more of a focus on Georgia Tech here when it comes to schematically, but still, it's going to come down to our development, our fundamental approach and just overall mindset in all situations. We've got to continue to develop that in every aspect. But I thought it was a good 3 weeks. We're 2 weeks away from kickoff. We got a lot of work we have to continue to do, but I think our guys are definitely growing.
First question will be Kurt Weiler on Josh.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Well, Kurt, how about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. You talked about, I guess, the extra week. I guess how important was that extra week where, most years you would have kind of had to probably start prepping this week where you kind of maybe integrated some stuff with the opponent, but how much of a difference do you think it makes having a third week where the focus can kind of be fundamentals before you kind of switch to more game prep?
Yeah, I think it was a necessity, especially with missing out on all the spring practices and a lot of those things that would have probably helped in our development. It was really important that we got that extra week so that we could have really twofold: one, the fundamental approach, but also some of the installation of what we want to accomplish. To work different situations, and so we're going to continue to be a work in progress. Leading up to kickoffs, there's still going to be some things that we need to implement and install. But I think for the majority of the things that we need to get done, we were able to accomplish that during that extra week, and I like where we are.
I imagine at this time of year, every coach is focused on all the things they haven't gotten in or accomplished that they hope to accomplish. And particularly being a first year, I imagine that the list is probably a little bit longer. Do you have a way to reconcile, like, how close are you to where you wanted to be? Or do you even set any kind of goal in that way?
I feel good about what we had the opportunity to rep and talk about. Now it comes down to the execution in those situations. We can, that's something that sometimes is years in the making of understanding the situation, playing with confidence, being able to go out there and respond to what we see. You guys can have a great sense of the play call, the defense, the blitz, the special teams call that we have. But when the moment shows up, you got to be able to go out there and have 11 guys execute it to the best of their ability and have confidence in that. So we've been through a lot. There's still some things that we had a couple situations that showed up today that have been absolutely costly in a game. I'm glad it showed up in practice, but at the end of the day, if we don't get that corrected, and if guys don't understand the importance of some of the decisions that they make throughout, then it will cost us. And so it's a continued growth process. I've seen that throughout my coaching career. Just where you have to have the baseline standard of what we're trying to do, build upon that foundation. But the more opportunities you get to rep it, the better you're going to be. And so that's something we're working towards.
Hey, Mike, when you guys have a physical competitive practice like you did today, are there guys, a select group of guys who are stepping up as tone setters, ones who are kind of embracing that aspect of practice, the physical, the competitiveness part?
I'll tell you a guy that I've really been pleased with, and Josh Kando, I think, has just continue to elevate his game. Just like each year, when we finish fall camp, we have a symbolic rock that every player signs, every coach signs, and we get a chance to choose a guy that has really kind of demonstrated throughout camp the proper mindset, the proper approach, meetings, everything, and all aspects. And this year we had Josh Kano was the guy that broke the rock. I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing from him. I like there's a lot of guys that are doing a really nice job. I mean, on both sides of the ball. With that, I think when you look at Jay Sean Corbin, the Damian Webb, those guys coming in, at the running back position, you're both being a little bit older guys. I like what I'm seeing from them. The competition that we have at the linebacker spot, obviously our defensive front, it's been good. Seeing some growth from Corey Durden, Robert Cooper, Fabian Lovett, that quartet that we have with Marvin there on the inside. I mean, that's got to be a strong point for this defense. And so seeing their development and really developing all those guys up front, a lot of competition in the back end. And so there's been moments throughout where all positions and groups have shined. I'm pleased with where we are, and it's just got to be more consistent in all aspects. And so that's part of the job and part of the work we have in front of us.
Thanks for the Dean Williams.
Hey, Coach. Hey, with you guys getting ready to start making the transition over to more game prep, have you decided on a starting quarterback yet? And if not, I mean, how close are you to making that determination?
It's something we look at each and every day. Continuing to go through all the results of what we're doing. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of personnel talks here this weekend, and probably be able to solidify some spots, not just quarterback, if that's something that we're ready to do. But maybe some other spots that have guys have really emerged, within the depth, and you guys have put themselves in a position to really play at a high level. A guy that I'm really proud of for what he's done these last few this last week is Pokey Wilson. I mean, he has really come out and made a couple really big plays today. Showing up at a consistent level each and every practice. I think he's got a chance to have a really good year. But we'll make some of those personnel decisions here as we're getting closer and moving forward.
Hi, Coach. We talk a lot about the physical maturity needed to play the game, but I want to touch on mental health and mental strength. How mentally taxing was it to enter into a new place and then not get the opportunity to make those in-person connections with your players and coaches in the spring? And how have you kind of grown with that throughout the beginning of fall camp?
Well, the mental aspect of it, I think we probably had an opportunity to grow, in a unique way, maybe even more, because it was such a necessity with guys having to, have so much change for them. I mean, not being here, having to quarantine, the amount of time that we tried to spend building those relationships. I mean, the in-person time together was obviously, not as much, but make sure that we were communicating in a variety of different ways to build up, and get a better understanding of each other. Something that, every week, throughout the quarantine, all the way till we started camp. I mean, I was sending either a personal video to our guys, or send them a text message, or with some aspect of growth in the mental mindset, or just our overall approach to things, and maybe some of it philosophical to who we are as a program, but then some of it just personal. And because I think it was important for them, even though they weren't around me every day, for them to get that message from a big picture approach. And our coaches, I thought, did a great job. It's allowed us that once we come back to camp and now we're around each other every day, these guys to see the consistent, messaging, the consistent actions from our coaches, and really what our program's going to stand for. And and they're responding really well. And I think that's what's going to help really solidify the culture that we want, and you build upon that foundation.
Hey, Coach, going back to Josh, sometimes when players, come in with as much acclaim as he did, and they don't have success for whatever reason early, sometimes it's tough to kind of dig out of that or kind of persevere through that. What were the first conversations you had with Josh when you guys got here? And I guess, how have you seen him emerge over these last 8 or 9 months?
Yeah, I mean, Josh was an extremely intelligent young man. We had a good meeting there in December. With our first time kind of being around each other, I knew that he's had some hiccups, and there's been things that some things that a lot of things are really outside of his control. And I think when you watch some of the growth that he had even last year, you saw some flashes of that potential, and it maybe didn't show up as much in the stat line, but you really saw a confidence in how he was playing, and really just his. The mental makeup and kind of his response to adversity in his rehabilitation. There in the spring, I watched him even when we were out, going through his few spring practices. Whenever we were in our tour of duty, his engagement with his teammates and always being in the moment, and that's something that I've really tried to challenge a lot of our guys. That there were times that you might not be able to play or you might not be available. It doesn't mean that you can't make an impact. And everybody has an opportunity. Everybody has a job. And so I think he's really embraced that. And I tell you, I think that the potential he has for his future is limitless. I really do believe he is, he's becoming a well-rounded, I think potentially dominant football player, giving great effort, consistently showing up each and every day, wanting to be challenged. And that's what you hope for. Now, he's not a man of many words. I can tell you, he goes about his business. Even today when he broke the rock, I told him he was free to say something he wanted to, and he lets his work show up speak for his actions. But the response from his teammates when I was able to call out his name was pretty impressive. You could see the respect they have for him.
As the focus turns to Georgia Tech, I guess from what you've studied so far, it's what stands out about them. And I guess how weird is it going into the first game of the year, not having kind of the spring game footage to be able to kind of get a preview of what this year's team is going to look like?
Well, what are you talking about for our team? Yeah, so I mean, looking at our football team, we've had a couple scrimmages to get a sense, but we haven't had the game type atmosphere with a spring game. So I mean, it's going to be going into game one. We're going to have to truly rely on the little things, the fundamentals, the discipline. This is you're playing the Georgia Tech team that's in the second year with their coaching staff. Coaching staff that's had a lot of success throughout their career. I was actually in the same league. With Coach Collins when he was at Temple. We never had the opportunity to play each other, but I got a chance to see his team play quite a bit. Throughout ever since the schedules come out, we've been able to do a lot of background. As a coaching staff, going back through the last 3 years from Temple to Georgia Tech, really evaluating personnel and overall just a general study of schemes and things like that. But they're in their second year of the transition that we're in, and the physical development, the confidence of what those guys are playing at. They had some good wins last year, and that confidence that they're going to bring into year two with what their expectation is something that they're going to come out. They're going to start fast, and we just need to make sure that we're focusing on ourselves, going out there and playing to the best of our ability and all that we do. And it doesn't really matter who we play. I mean, that's gonna be our mindset moving forward. Control the things that we can control, preparing ourselves to the best of our ability, and we get an opportunity to play the game. We got to go execute at a very high level.
Mike, I wanted to follow up on the rock. So can you elaborate? Like, is it an actual physical rock, or is it like metaphorical? And have you done that previously for the preseason?
Yes, sir. It is actually a physical rock. I mean, I don't know the size of it, probably 12 by 12. I mean, maybe a little bit bigger than that, but it's something that we do to symbolize, all different stages of our year. And, because I think so many times kids get caught up with the end in mind, and really you got to focus on the day, the stage that we're in, whether it's tour duty, whether it's spring practice, summer conditioning, now fall camp, and then every game of the season. And so you will have that type of mindset and approach of trying to be the best version of us in the moment. And so, like I said, it's something that I've done as long as I've been a head coach, and something that I believe in. And like as I told our guys, when you sign your name to something, and that's a commitment. And when those guys go out there and whether it's before a game or here wrapping up a fall camp, and I'm putting my name, and I'm going to get everything that I have moving forward to help this football team. And these guys, that name that they carry, it represents so much more than just what they're doing here. It represents the story of how they got here, and the people that have helped be along the journey with them. And so when they sign that name, that responsibility to go out there and actually do what you say you're going to do is important to me. And when you accomplish that feat and that objective, and when we get to smash that rock, I mean it's kind of just a physical stamp that your job well done, and now we get to move to the next step.
All right, last question will be back to Ethan from the Democrat.
2020 has taken significant icons from us too soon. Has the life that Kobe Bryant or Chadwick Boseman led influenced the way that you coach? Or does that drive home your statement that you tell your players about getting better every day, 1%?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, that's, I think, when you see the loss of any figure, and, obviously you mentioned a couple of stars, and one in acting, another, one of the greatest basketball players ever, that lose their lives at an early age, an early stage. It does provide an example to say, for our guys, that you got to maximize every day. That is our message. That's what we talk about all the time. Is that you're never guaranteed anything more than this moment, at this time. So, I think both the guys you just talked about, I mean, how they're going to be remembered forever are one, respectable. The life they lived was absolutely respectable. They were men of service. They were men of sacrifice, and they made an incredible impact. It's heartbreaking that they lost their lives early, throughout the course of what we all expected. But at the end of the day, they made an impact that's going to last forever. And if each and every one of our players and coaches can approach the day that we have, trying to be the best version of us, and then whenever our time does come, that hopefully we'll have a similar story that carries on with an incredible impact.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.